G'day guys, I hope you had a great Easter. We certainly had a fun time here, even in isolation. Today I wanted to share with you 13 activities that I've done this year with my 3-year-old daughter using these plastic eggs. I absolutely love them. There's so many different things you can do with them. So if you want to see what I did with her last year, then here's the video here when she was 2. The activities today are going to help developing fine motor skills, gross motor skills. There'll be some name recognition. I'm going to do a whole video in the future of just different activities I've done to help with that. Color recognition, number recognition. All right, let's get into it. So the first one I wanted to share with you is an egg and spoon race. This was so much fun to do. This was fun for her. It was fun for me. We just ran and laughed. So I'll show you what I did here. Grabbed what I could from the kitchen cupboard. Then we've got some eggs in a container, then a nice area to run. You could always do this inside too if you've got a hallway. Okay. I think you'll notice in my video, I've talked a lot about fine motor skills, but gross motor skills are just as important. So they're like using your whole body activities. So, you know, running, jumping, moving your arms and your legs. So it's using those big muscles of your body to do activities. So this is a great one, especially with lockdown. You could do it in your house if you've got a hallway, but just to do some running up and down, as well as holding onto the spoon with the egg on it. The next activity I've called egg patterns, which is basically matching what the egg I've drawn here using the plastic Easter egg. So the hardest bit of this for me was actually drawing the egg. Like, it really didn't look like it at times. What I did was I found if I drew the bottom first and then drew the top in 2 different parts, then it worked a lot better. It was really important that you could tell the top from the bottom, because with the Easter eggs, as you can see here, I did a green bottom for one and a green top for the other. And I did that deliberately so that it required a little bit more problem solving to work out which green part she needed. Of course, I could have printed some egg shapes offline, but I just went with a quick option, just using these old speech cards from my uni days. You would have already seen this activity if you follow me on Instagram, Play Activities with Mama, but I do have some that I haven't shared on there that I'm going to be sharing in this video. So some skills being developed during this activity is color matching, fine motor skills. It actually requires coordination of your hands to get the eggs to really click together. So that can be challenging. Problem solving, cognitive thinking. It's a fun activity, and if you need something to just quieten them down. The next one I did was egg threading. I set this one up for her for after her nap. As you can see here, you'll see this tray a lot in my activities. It's from IKEA. It's like a bed tray. It's called the Klipski. I think that's how you say it. Probably not. It's probably not how you say it. But anyway, it's that bed tray. And so I set up the eggs in just a little basket and then some pipe cleaners. Now, it'll depend what eggs you've got, how this activity goes. With some of the eggs that I used, the hole was tiny or not fully open, so I couldn't even get the pipe cleaner through. So just have a bit of a look at that, and then it's threading through. Some of the vocab words that we used that were helpful were push and then pull. Push and then pull. And I just talked to her about making sure that the pipe cleaner was straight at the end so that it could thread through. And then she chose the colors that she wanted to put on. So once again, she's talking about colors. So it's a color recognition activity as well. And then she talked about small hole, big hole after we discussed the holes. This activity does require a lot of concentration as well as eye-hand coordination so that you can thread the pipe cleaner through the egg. The next one is Easter egg matching. This is always a fun one she loves doing, is matching the little chicks that you get from those craft stores to the coloured eggs. When we did it last year, it was just kind of matching the colour with the egg, whereas this time she talked it through. She was like, there's the orange chick, put it in the orange egg. Green chick, put it in the green egg. And that was child-led. She decided to talk about what she was doing when she was putting the chicks in. And she was so excited when they were all matched back to their egg. Number 5 is egg hunt. So using those same eggs with the chicks in, I hid them around the playroom. And then she was so excited to go find them. Once again, it's a gross motor activity. They can run and go get them. One of my best mates with her boys actually put dinosaurs in the eggs and hid them around, and she said the activity just went all morning. It was fantastic. They absolutely loved getting the dinosaurs out of the eggs and then hiding them again. I too found after I'd hid the eggs the first time, my daughter hid some eggs for me. Number 6, hidden name. So this is a name recognition activity. So I wrote her name out on the post-it notes, folded them in half and put them into the plastic eggs and then hid them around her room. But I didn't tell her it was her name, so she'd come back and she started opening up the eggs, opening up the post-it notes, and then she started recognizing some of those letters and then put the post-it notes down on the tray. And then I thought, you know what, I could write her name out on a cardboard, so your child might like to do this, because then if you think about it, they're just matching shapes. So they're matching the S to the S. So it's a matching activity. So it doesn't matter if they don't know the letters, they're matching the shapes, the E to the E. They're the same shape. Like I said, this is a good one, and this burnt energy because we did this a few times. My daughter just loves activities that involve her name. They're very exciting for her. The next activity is pegging the eggs. So I did this when she was 2 as well. So just put the eggs out, put a little tray with colored pegs in it, and she started matching them straight away. This is fantastic for pizza grip, to help strengthen those muscles for writing and holding a pen and pencil. This is a really good one, and so she matched them all. She even had a bit of problem solving because I had a pink egg but a red peg. Initially she wouldn't match them because they're different, and then she thought, oh well, I'll just do it so that all the pegs were matched. I do link the items that I use in the Amazon store. I'm in Australia, so they might not be exact, but I've done my very best. This activity also turned into a counting activity, so she would count the number of pegs on each egg as she was putting them on, and then at the end we went around and counted them all. So great for developing counting and colour recognition, this activity. And like I said, when we did it a year ago, it was just trying to get the pegs on, and that took a lot more of the concentration, was actually using the peg and getting it on the egg, whereas now she's taking it a bit further and she's talking about the colours and counting them and the difference between a pink and red, etc. The next activity I've been really wanting to do, and it's sound eggs. So what I did is I grabbed yellow eggs and orange eggs and I put the same thing in each one, and the idea is that she'll listen to one egg and then go through the others to find the other one and then match them together. So matching sounds. I was really excited to do this activity. I think it's a really fun one, and it's just something different. I think I'm going to do this activity again in a couple of months using toilet paper rolls, duct tape, using black duct tape and white duct tape, and then putting the different objects in, just so I can keep it going, because I think it's such a great activity and it's just really focusing on using the auditory system. The next activity we did together, which was egg towers, so using the plastic eggs, stacking them as high as we could. This was a challenge because you've got the tops and you've got the bottoms, so a lot of problem solving with this one to try and get as big as we could. It was a fun Easter memory for me this year, doing this activity together. The next one is egg towers, so using toilet paper rolls. This is cling wrap roll, putting the egg on the top. So I initially did this activity earlier in the week for my son, who's 11 months old, put them on there and he knocked them down. Then I thought I can do the same setup with my daughter, but working more on the gross motor skills. So I wanted her to throw a ball. She then decided to kick it to try and knock off the eggs and knock down those towers.
Okay. Between the trucks and throw. Well done.
The next activity is number matching, so I've gone with all yellow eggs and just put the number of dots on the top and written the number down the bottom for her to match together. I deliberately went with all the same color eggs because I didn't want to turn it into a color matching. I wanted to challenge her, so I kept them all yellow, put the dots on the top, and each time she did it, she would count through the dots on the top and then try and find the number underneath. We have done this multiple times, probably 6 or 7 times. It's been a really good activity. I must say though, it's a great one for the shelf to just put there and for her to come back to, because once she's kind of completed the task, she's like, yep, done, accomplished. And it's only been a couple of times that she's pulled it apart and then gone to do it again. The next activity is doing some egg stamping, so using these eggs and some paint and then putting it all over paper. I've used this for greeting cards, wrapping paper. This year I got involved with it too and attempted to do a rainbow. And the very last activity I want to share with you is a science experiment. If you haven't tried this, please do. This is an awesome one, and it doesn't have to be with these plastic Easter eggs. I just did it as an Easter theme. So here what I've done as the setup is I've used these little mini muffin tray. I put the eggs in and then I put a drop of food dye down the bottom and then covered with bicarb soda. Which is known as sodium bicarbonate. It might be called something different in other countries, but basically it's bicarb soda, and then we're going to put vinegar on it and it fizzes up. which is so fun, and it reveals the color that's underneath. My mum tip here is with the vinegar, mix it with a bit of water. It still works, but it lasts longer. Here I used a sauce bottle, and before long all the vinegar was gone and I was off to get some more, and I just added water and vinegar and it lasted a bit longer. The thing about this is once they've all exploded, what you can do is just kind of tip off the vinegar, and there's still bicarb soda there that hasn't erupted, and then you can put more vinegar on. So it just kind of keeps going, this activity. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an Easter one, so you could even just use a muffin tray, put a drop or two of the food dye down the bottom, cover with bicarb soda to help dispense the vinegar. I've used dropper, pipettes, squirty bottle. You could use a spoon and pour it on. Kids will get so excited seeing the color come through. It's a take. I remember as a child, we made a volcano, and it was bicarb soda down the bottom, and then you put the vinegar in and the volcano erupts. So it's that on a smaller scale, making little fuzzy eruptions. For me, this activity has never failed. It always lasts so long. It keeps us so entertained as long as the bubbles just keep coming. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful. I hope you keep staying safe and healthy. And I do hope during this time you're making some happy, playful memories. Bye.